Hey everybody, this is Mad Matt Carter. Thank you so much for watching the AIWF Network YouTube channel as well as the AIWF Ringside Wrestling channel. If you like what you see, please do us a big favor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell to get notifications every time we post new videos on both our channels. It means a lot to us, and thanks a lot for watching once again. Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to AIWF Ringside Wrestling. I'm sorry, I didn't give you guys a countdown. I just hit the button and went with it. But anyway, your Hall of Fame panel is with you again this week. Joining me always is Brian and Reagan Danzig. Stephen Hayes is also here. Rick Diesel is not with us because he's with the food truck up in Wilkesboro for race weekend. The All-Star race getting underway. In just a little while, they're going to run the open, probably taking a green flag right about now. So if you're watching us live on Facebook, that's what's going on. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor real quick, and hit the like button for this video, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you get a notification anytime we put out a new video. We've got some good stuff coming in the next couple of weeks across our YouTube channels. Tonight at 7 o'clock in the East, Spring Jam is going to debut on the AIWF network. Tomorrow morning on the AIWF Ringside Wrestling channel, we're going to have the World Tag Team title matchup from the anniversary show that's going to air. And Brian, you'll remember that, Reagan too, from the anniversary show. That was a spectacular match with a wild ending.
It was. It was a good one. Definitely check that one out.
Yeah, especially, if you like the whole, and it seems to be really popular. A lot of people love the fan cam with the natural sound. I don't talk much on it unless something major happens. Brian attacking the referee at Deal with the Steel was one that got me going. But it has to be something, pretty crazy that happens before I'll inject any commentary, because I always wished, not so much anymore in WWE, but over the last 10 years, I wish that I had an option, that I could hit a button on my remote control and turn off the commentary. Not that Michael Cole and whoever he was working with were doing anything wrong, but if you've ever been to live wrestling and you know what the natural sound is and how it feels and how everything flows, sometimes you miss that. And it's kind of fun.
I think it depends on, I don't like shows that are fully quiet, but I do what you see, what you're saying, Mike, just the way it sounds when you're there. It's quite the thing to be a part of.
And also when people do get to see that match, I would like to see them comment on the ending and the I don't want to give too much away, but the referee's decision at the end to see whether or not they agreed with his call or not.
Yeah.
I personally did not agree with his call, but again, I'm one of those people, the ref has the final say and what he says goes.
Yeah.
So, I would just like to see if anybody else, what their opinion is of his call in that matchup.
And of course, I've been known over the years to go up to a couple of referees after the match, especially tag team matches, and be like, "Why did you make that 3 count? That guy wasn't legal." "Oh, yes, he was." "No, he wasn't. I can show you on the video. There was not a tag." What in the world?
Well, what's funny is that just happened at a WrestleMania also. Not WrestleMania, I'm sorry. Help me. The last pay-per-view.
Backlash.
Yeah.
Backlash.
I had a hard week this week with my brain. So
yeah, Bobby and I have had discussions before about whether or not there should be 2 referees. But the thing is, every time, well, not every time, but almost every time I see a match that does have 2 referees, you end up having a conflict with the 2 referees. That's why I am of the opinion that even though one referee isn't going to see everything, you have one person who has one final say. So that's why I like the format of one referee. I think having 2 just muddles things up.
It does. We had at the anniversary show, I don't think y'all were coming at the time, but this has been several years ago, right after we went back to the park from the Armory. we had a battle royal, and there were 4 referees out there, one on each side of the ring, and they somehow missed that Rob McBride tossing a guy over the top rope. 4 referees, and the guy came back in the ring and ended up throwing Rob over the top rope, and they declared him the winner. So yeah, Brian, you're 100% right. More referees does not always fix the problem. I posted it on YouTube, and I was like, thoughts on what happened at the end of this match, and people were just putting comments. This was on an old YouTube channel I had that nobody watched, and a couple of people chimed in like, how did they come to that decision? I mean, nobody could figure out what happened, and I finally wrote in the comments, all 4 referees missed that guy going over the top rope, and people were writing back to me. This is just close friends, like it was just a small YouTube channel, and they were saying, how did they miss that? How did they miss that? There was one on each side. I don't know. They missed it. So to me, Rob McBride is still owed a victory in a legacy battle royal from several years ago, because he got hosed on that deal. That's for sure.
I don't know how anybody misses Boogie doing anything.
I know. I have no idea. Yeah. You can't miss. Rob McBride's not one of those kind of guys you can miss.
No.
I ran across a clip of him on social media, one of his appearances on the tow truck show from way back. Those people are
Lizard Lick.
Oh, thank you. They were big around the wrestling business there for a while. People were having them like at every show.
Yeah.
Is it the one where he chops the window?
Yes, he throws a smoke bomb in there or something. Yeah, Rob McBride was on that show, and some foreign person, and God, man, I don't know any softer way to say it, but you know how like people in other countries will post stuff on Twitter with poor English and try to pass it off as something new, and that's what they were doing, and it reminded me how long ago, because the footage was actually grainy. And so I'm like, now they shot Lizard Lick in HD. So what has happened to this show is it's moved around the world in syndication, and probably not legally, that this show looks like this. But sure enough, Robert Ride was on there. Some guy from Mumbai had posted on Twitter, and I was like, wow, Rob's in the big time now. He's made it to India.
He's an international superstar.
Yeah,
I mean, if it's grainy, they were showing it from Rob's perspective because he is old enough that he sees in black and white.
We laugh now, but that's going to be us in a few years.
Yeah, I can't. Okay, we can't talk about being old, because today this is not wrestling related, really. My favorite Smashing Pumpkin song is Ava Adore. And it was released on the 18th in 1998. And
really?
Yes. And I was just shook to my core. So I'm getting old.
Reagan, I just hit 50 like 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. So yeah.
Yeah, this one will be hitting that in October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Halfway there, club.
Yeah.
I found it on Apple Music. That did not take long. Let's see here. I love Apple Music.
I do too. That's what we have, and I think it's far superior than the other ones. The sound quality is better, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I was shocked at the sound quality, how much better it was.
May 18th, 1998. Reagan is absolutely right. They have a remastered version on here. It looks like it was an album called Adore, right?
Yes, it was, which was one of their first albums that had a lot of the like synth stuff to it, electronic to it. So it wasn't. Some people are very divided on whether or not Smashing Pumpkins is good at just rock or the electronic stuff, because I also liked their last album they had out a couple of years ago that was very similar. I have some favorite songs from that too. Is it Sire? Seer. I can't say the word right. So
I went to see them a couple of years ago at the PNC Pavilion down the street here. Great show, man. Yeah. I really felt like I got my money's worth. They came out and played over 2 hours, their set was.
we were lucky when they right after they released that CD, they went on a small tour of like smaller places. So Greensboro has an amphitheater attached to the Coliseum, and we saw them there before they started doing their big tour. And man, oh man, I just like there's just something about them. They I don't know. They just kind of transcend into this like godlike like feelings when you see them like live. And you know, if you like them and stuff, I would seeing them live is so good.
I don't like, and we're talking rock and roll here. Just bear with us. We'll get to wrestling, but
it's kind of wrestling. Billy Corgan.
Yeah, Billy Corgan owns the NWA, but I don't like everything the Smashing Pumpkins did, but the bulk of it I do, you know. And so I had a good time at that concert. Part of the reason was Edge was there, and I actually spoke to him, and that was kind of cool. But I was like, man, I ain't gonna be the one to hassle this motherfucker, you know, because I didn't think it didn't look like anybody was recognizing him. And so just as I'm walking back from getting a beer, headed back to my seat, as I walk by him, I see him on the cell phone, and it's before the Pumpkins came out, and I was like, hey man, I'm a big fan, like that. And he looks up from his phone and he goes, thanks, man. Right back to his phone. And that was all the interaction I needed, man. That was just,
that's all like, yeah.
So that was
There's
cool.
You know, the Undertaker, speaking of that, we're kind of taking it back to wrestling. The Undertaker was just talking about, you know, people coming up to him like in the airports and stuff. And he was talking about how it's getting so bad now because people are now just coming with like tons and tons and tons of stuff for them to sign so they can sell it on eBay. So a lot of these people now are not stopping for real fans because like, he's like, if you're a real fan, you know, that's great. I'd love to see you. It's part of the business, you know. He's like, but so many people just come to you when you're trying to do something and just hand you thing after thing to sign. And it's really ruining it for like the real fans. Cause you know, everybody on here listens to us, knows about, you know, how my friends and I met wrestlers in the 90s and stuff. And I just don't think that would happen.
You hotel stalked him, be honest.
Okay, it's stalking. But still, like those things wouldn't happen now because, you know, we just wanted to meet them, and now everybody just wants to make money off of them. So
everybody's looking to make a quick buck, that's for sure. But it is unfortunate. But I felt so bad at that time that I went with. I don't know if you were there, Reagan, that night. We went to the place in Greensboro after Raw. And we all we met Vince, we met Shane, we met Jerry the King Lawler. Jericho sprinted by us and went to the elevator, still wearing his gear, which was interesting. He was just like a gray blur. But like I saw, like when we were taking pictures with him and everything, I could see in their eyes how tired they were, even Vince. And I told myself after that, I was like, man, I ain't doing this no more, man. I'm hassling these poor people. They're just trying to get to bed, you know.
But then, like, the thing we never, like when we did it, when we stalked, like we only went to the bars. Like we didn't bother them like on the way to the elevator or on the way inside, or because like one time we parked next to Bret Hart and he was unloading and we left him alone because he was, you know, he was doing what he was trying to get ready and go in the hotel. We would only go into the bars where they were actively making asses of themselves and available for pictures and stealing 20s and stuff like that.
No, we ordered drinks in the bar and walked back into the lobby and waited at the door.
Yeah.
It was bad.
We didn't do that. So
yeah. So I don't even remember if any of them came into the bar that night, but anyway.
Yeah, I think WWF was stricter on that kind of thing than WCW was.
Oh, I'm sure they were. I mean, they're still in business. So
and that's the thing is when we did stalk one time the WWF in Greensboro, like we saw the Undertaker and a couple of people, but they were just very quietly like eating and stuff, and we didn't bother them. And the next morning when we met the WCW wrestlers, we were in breakfast with a lot of them and we left them alone. Like we were just eating our breakfast. They were eating their breakfast. So it's like, you have to have sense when you're stalking wrestlers. Like you have to know when to bother them and when to leave them alone.
And truth be told, if you're all sitting in there having hotel breakfast, let's be honest. How many hotels have you ever been to that actually had a good breakfast, especially post pandemic? I mean, this was back in the 90s. So if you were in the Embassy Suites or something like that, yeah, it's probably pretty good. But I can
this
tell
is
you.
a paid breakfast place.
Oh,
You
okay.
had to pay for breakfast at the bar because the bar turned into the breakfast place at the Adams Mark in the morning. So.
Was it pretty good? Was it pretty
Yeah,
good?
from what I remember.
Yeah. See,
I
now
was
I
about to say I'm not interrupting anybody just getting that bagel, cream cheese, and a little box of cereal.
No.
It just ain't happening.
But, Perry Saturn did threaten to put Candace in a duffel bag, though.
I have no comment.
I don't remember. I don't remember what led up to that, but
certain friends of yours were too busy waiting on X-Pac to get drunk, so they may be able to take advantage of him.
We never met him or saw him, because the first time we met the WCW wrestlers was right after he got fired by WCW, and then we never got to meet him till we paid to meet him at WrestleCade. Okay. So,
I know one friend of yours was completely brokenhearted without mentioning any names.
No, don't. Yeah, don't.
No, I'm not. I'm being good.
We did get a good picture of Juventud Guerrera, though. So that was they were happy about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funny, me and Major Havoc and Poison completely kayfabe Flair outside of Bojangles Arena one night.
Oh, wow.
I wonder if
Go ahead.
What show were you at? Do you remember?
What was the pay-per-view? I think it was Judgment Day.
Okay. It was WWF.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We had a show in Elkin the night before. We're hanging out outside the arena, and all of a sudden you hear this just massive chorus of woos coming down the side. And Flair was taking the comp tickets to the Fox tent for John Boy and them to give away. I mean, just being hounded. And he walks right by us while we're talking about the match we had the night before. And like, you got three people kind of look up like, oh, hey, Nate, right back to the match. And we got the nastiest stank eye, side eye of, who are you to ignore me?
I don't know. He's one that I would not bother. After my debacle with getting his picture at the Gold's Gym that I had to pay for my whole life, I would not bother him if he wasn't being. That was the one. He was so pissed off that day, and I was just like, ugh.
He was already being hounded, so yeah, I'm not going to bother the man.
Also, that terrible incident on what's that website that people go on and pay celebrities to say hey to them?
Cameo. Oh man, do you think you could legally show that?
Huh?
Yeah,
who paid for it?
My friend and I did it together.
Well, then
it's on my account.
All right, then you own the copyright. Yeah, you can show it. I mean,
we should show that sometime.
Well, I don't know. After we talked about it, Flair's Pizzeria incident, we got to it first last weekend. I was glad it happened later in the week and we got to it first. But every wrestling podcast has been talking about it.
Oh yeah, we missed that last week. Man, he brought that upon himself. He brought that upon himself. If he had just let that go, nobody would have known anything about it other than the people that work there.
Yeah, but you got to understand, a bar, if you're all sloshy and drunk and everything, and they keep serving you, they can get in trouble with that and lose their liquor license. They got to cut you off. You know, if you're passed out at a bar, they're obliged to throw you out. You know, I mean, you can't just pass out, fall off a bar stool. You know,
the Channel 12 sport or Channel 12 anchor who wrecked and killed people here in downtown Winston, like the bar that he got overserved in got held accountable also. So.
Yeah, I remember that. That guy's out of prison now, isn't he?
Is he? Probably.
Yeah, it's been a long time. That happened.
It has been a long time.
20 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He drove down the sidewalk though.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
Drove right. Like, yeah, it was bad. Like, and it was. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think the place is in business anymore that overserved him. But I know that I don't think they were like counted like like legally, but like civilly, I think.
Mhm,
And I think
yeah.
they probably lost their license too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the ABC did not like that one bit. So it violates about every rule they've got. So anyways, but the funniest one was Cornette and Brian Last. I know you guys don't listen to Cornette's podcast, but Stephen Hayes, did you hear that conversation? You couldn't
Not
really
yet.
understand what they were saying because they were laughing so hard. It was incredible. They'd play 5 or 6 seconds of that, and Brian would stop it and be like, "What the fuck?" And they would,
I started listening to it and kind of got sidetracked with Cornette's Louisiana run January.
oh, I hadn't heard that one yet.
Yeah,
I love that.
they broke it down the whole month of where they were and blah blah blah. So I got a little sidetracked.
That Mid-South touring down there seems like hell. I mean,
Yes.
just I can't imagine. Even now, I went to Louisiana in 1999, and some of the stuff that he says about Louisiana in 84 was still the same in 99, except they do have interstates that go east to west. I don't know if there's one that goes north to south still, though.
I don't think there's one north south. You do have I-10 coming across through. So yeah.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite drives I've ever had in my entire life. And when I went out to Phoenix, I-10 runs through Phoenix too. And so when we got on the highway, I didn't know that. And when we got on the highway, I was like, I'm back on I-10. And they're like, and my brother-in-law was like, what's so special about I-10? I said, the I-10 drive from west to east, from Lake Charles to New Orleans, across southern Louisiana is one of the most beautiful drives you can do, especially when you cross over that big long bayou where you're on that bridge for like 30 miles. Oh God. Love it.
Just don't get pulled over in Louisiana.
Just no. Yes,
you might not come back.
I feel the same about Mississippi and Alabama. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. And you better spread it on thick. Be extra nice.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and be careful about looking people in the eye too. The Deep South, so much fun because you don't really know if you're going to come back. If you've never been, kids, you ought to give it a try. The food's great down there. To me, it's worth the risk. If you're polite.
Great. My grandfather was from Alabama.
Yeah.
His brother lived in Alabama. Very interesting place, yes.
Yeah.
Great food, minus that whole white barbecue sauce thing that I just won't get into.
Oh no, they don't. Well, you know what? I thought that mustard-based barbecue sauce sounded nasty that they do in South Carolina and Georgia, but if you have it and it's done right, it's delicious.
I've never had bad barbecue, except we went to a barbecue restaurant in Canada when I was in high school, and that was the worst barbecue I've ever had.
Yeah.
Just too far away from the source.
Yeah.
All the it was, Kansas City has a reputation for good barbecue. The whole state of Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, even Arizona, they've got Rudy's barbecue out there, and that's not bad.
I just don't think Canada when I think barbecue.
No, we didn't either. And it was like, you know how liquidy Lexington's is? Like, just in general, it was more, and I like that. This was more liquidy. And I don't know how that's possible, but it was disgusting.
Yeah.
And they didn't have sweet tea, so what the hell?
You read my mind, Stephen Hayes. They served their plate. They played a moose.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
But now there's a place here in Concord as we talk about food now. I promise we'll come back to wrestling.
Maybe, who knows?
There's a place in Concord here called Jim and Nick's. I think it's a chain. It may or may not be. I don't know. Great sweet tea. But they put all 3 kinds of barbecue sauce on the table for you. Lexington, Eastern, and mustard based, right?
Right.
The last time I was in there, every time I'd take a bite of barbecue, I'd squirt a different sauce on it. I was eating a different style every bite.
Little Richards puts out all 3, I think, now.
At least 2.
Then they put out at least 2, but I thought they had a mustard based one. I don't know.
Might have, I don't
remember seeing it the last time I was in the one in Mount Airy, but
well, that's the thing about Little Richards. Like, they all got the same name, but they're all just a little bit different. Like, the one here in Clemens is different than the one in Winston. So they got like almost the same kind of food, but it's all this just different and stuff. But
I'm a simple man
boxes.
when it comes to barbecue sauce. Just give me a vinegar based and I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it all. Like I said, I'm a big eater. I like it all.
I like
Bring
them
it
all
on.
too. I like them all too. But speaking of liking them all, I'm gonna try to, very roughly segue, trip and fall into it to tell you about the AIWF Network and AIWF Ringside Wrestling. Those are the YouTube channels. If you want to see all the action from AIWF Mid-Atlantic, that's where you need to be. AIWF Network is actually starting to show affiliate programs, so you can start seeing wrestling from different parts of the country if you're so inclined. We'd love to have you drop by, subscribe, give the videos a like, and ring the bell to be notified when we post new videos. It's a big help to the channel. AIWF Ringside Wrestling is approaching 1,200 subscribers. We are so close. Let me give it a live check right here. Just a moment. Just bear with me here. One moment. And we gain some, we lose some, and gain some and lose some. It goes up and down. And of course, it doesn't want to load.
But I mean, that's
Spectrum, I pay you enough for this damn internet that I'll be able to use like 5 devices at once. Come on.
No, it's terrible. Ours is the same thing. When our children are doing something heavy on the internet while we're doing this, it's like it's AOL all over again.
Yeah. Boy, that brings back some bad memories of damn crayon. I never understood how a grown person could use that stuff. But anyway, here we go. So those are our social media platforms. We've got some other ones, but these are the main ones. If you want to see exciting wrestling action, check us out. And of course, you can always reach out to us in the email at aiwf20@hotmail.com if you got any questions, concerns, or general thoughts.
Probably the last people in the 24th century that still has a Hotmail account.
I know. I can't. But it's grandfathered in. It's been there since the 90s. So, all right, next big event comes up. It's extreme content. I'm sure Brian Danzig, an event very, very near and dear to your heart, as you were involved in the main event in the very first one back in '98.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. The matches that have already been announced are already piquing my interest. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Well, you'll have to bring us up to speed because I'm only aware of one, and that's this.
Maybe we're speaking.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
That's the ones that I've heard of that haven't been announced.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to. This is hard when Rick Diesel isn't here. We don't know.
It's not a prediction.
What we can tell, what we can't tell.
Yeah. So generally, but I will tell you, the wrestling fans, this: the matches that they are hearing, but we have not made absolutely official yet, will 99% happen. We just got to get the I's dotted and the T's crossed.
Right.
And
yeah, we don't want to make announcements before we've made. I mean, and you can never make absolute sure, of course, but we want to make sure everybody has agreed to all the terms and that they can make it and all those things before we start making announcements.
And just the booking committee works really hard on creating something that is exciting and that people want to see. So,
and this one's exciting. Savage Kincaid has not lost since he's come to Mid-Atlantic, and he's challenging for the Mid-Atlantic heavyweight title. And I thought to myself when I first saw this, it's odd that he hadn't challenged for any other title, but he's too big to go for the cruiserweight title. And so I'm just like, I don't disagree with letting him have a shot at Justin Flash, because a lot of people think that they can come in and handle Justin Flash, and they don't. But Justin Flash is coming off a loss to Mickey Fulp, and I've heard wrestlers say it's hard to become the champion, but it's even harder to stay the champion. And I think Savage Kincaid is going to give Justin Flash all he can handle and more. Your thoughts?
Well, this is Savage Kincaid is really one of those guys that can you really prepare yourself to wrestle him? I mean, is that something you can sit down and study tapes and work on, because he's so unpredictable? I mean, he's a huge guy. I mean, Savage is in his name, so like I don't know if you can sit down and just prepare yourself for him.
Well, and I think one of the reasons that Savage Kincaid is getting this shot is not only that he's been undefeated, but who he has beaten and how dominant. I mean, he in his debut match, he defeated former world champion Kevin Phoenix. And I mean, and Kevin Phoenix got hardly any offense in that matchup. So I think that in and of itself would probably give him a title shot. And if he were somebody who were more focused on titles, he probably would have gotten a shot earlier. I'm wondering, is there somebody in the back that has a thing against Justin Flash for making this matchup? But I mean, it's definitely going to. I mean, talk about out of the frying pan into the fire for Flash. I mean, you think he finally overcame Corey Edsel. Now he's going up against an even bigger opponent. So, but again, if anybody can do it, it's him. But it's definitely going to be a challenge for him.
Stephen Hayes, would you agree that Justin Flash has had a reputation of being a giant killer over the years?
He beat me. I will give credit where credit is due. Flash is the athlete. He can get it done when he needs to get it done. But I also say when you said it's harder to keep a title, if the boy would just finally embrace some ambiguous morals and understand the quote of champion's advantage.
Yeah.
I don't care how big they are. You can hold on to that belt for as long as you want to hold on to that belt.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's the thing is they have to beat you. You don't have to beat them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we say a lot of times that Justin Flash, is such a good guy, but Buddy Flowers might have a different take on that. I've seen Justin Flash do some things recently that, he's still a great guy, but he's starting to do that a little bit more of putting himself out there to keep that belt.
Yeah, well,
ambiguous morals.
Yeah, he's been around the game now for 20 years more.
Yeah.
So yeah, come on, he's 20 years older than he used to be. If you're going to take some shortcuts, you'll probably do it, as you get older. So I'm just saying, I don't think you're going to start seeing him like going into people's eyes and stuff like that. But
I would appreciate it.
I know you would.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's
oh mercy. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It all goes down Saturday, June the 1st at Veterans Park. We hope to see you all there. It's going to be a lot of fun that night. We'll have more matches announced as we get closer to that date. All right, real quick, let me tell you about Premier Auto Detailing. They can handle all your automotive cleaning needs. If it's commercial job, residential job, we can clean up that old jalopy and make it look brand new. We say it's the best car cleaning service in town. And if you'd like more information, give them a call at 336-883-5722. That's 336-883-5722 for more information. Remember, they do commercial jobs. So if you got a used car lot and you don't want to hire a new man or a new girl to wash cars and just have somebody come in and do it for you, they can help you. Give them a call, 336-883-5722. I'm going to clear my throat there. Tees Creations, custom apparel. I just need to record these and play them, but I don't know. It's something fun about doing an old school live commercial read,
Yeah.
I coughed right in the microphone that time. That's why you see I'm not in radio.
Professional.
Not in radio in LA for a reason. TeesCreations22.com. They got hats. Well, not really hats. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, tumblers, all kinds of different accessories. Tees Creations 22.com. Tees Creations by Allied Apparel on Facebook and TikTok at Tees Creations. They're also on Spotify. Important to note, if you wrestle in the Mid-Atlantic area and you'd like to get some merch printed up, T-shirts, that type of thing.
Matt, are we supposed to be able to see the slideshow?
I would hope so. Why?
It's not on.
It's not?
Nope.
No, we're just seeing us.
Wonder if I hit some.
Because I flopped down very unceremoniously because I thought the thing would be on.
Well, I pulled the slideshow up and I was looking at it, not sharing it. Y'all were able to see the poster for the
Nope.
Oh
Nope.
Man, I'm off my game, boy.
Well, we didn't even say anything. So
Can you see it now?
Yes.
There you go.
All right. So there's all the places you can find Tees Creations. And I'm gonna give the ads away free this week for that little snafu. But if you want to join this debacle and get your small business on, it's real cheap, $10 a month. We do 4 reads for you. So if we take a week off, it ain't gonna cost you anything. We're putting a headlock on high advertising prices, only $10 a month or $6 if you want to just do a week. You know, something that's been bothering me this week, and I wanted you guys' professional opinion on it. We talked last week about how Mickey Fulp stock is going up. I definitely see him in the future probably getting a crack at the AIWF Mid-Atlantic Championship. He's just on a hot streak right now. But so if I'm buying Mickey Fulp stock, I'm selling Ty Tyson stock right now, fans, and I'll tell you why. I found out by just, doing some casual talking or whatever, that German guy that Ty Tyson wrestled, and you're going to see this in the upcoming weeks on our YouTube channel, that German guy had not, he came to this country from Germany, but he actually went to wrestling school in this country, right? So it's not like he was wrestling in Germany before he came here and all that kind of stuff. I found out that he was not long out of wrestling school. And my opinion, just my opinion, and I have never competed in the wrestling ring before, so for you to say, Matt, you don't know what the hell you're talking about would be a fair assessment. But I have watched a lot of wrestling over the years, and for me, with somebody with the experience level of Ty Tyson, taking that long to put that guy away is troublesome. I wonder if Ty Tyson is nursing an injury that we don't know about that he's trying to cover up, or what's going on, or somebody's in his head, because he's a former AIWF world champion, Mid-Atlantic champion, tag team champion. I mean, I don't know. Something's off. You know what I mean? Like when it seems like something's off. So I'll go around the room, whoever wants to start, and you can elaborate your thoughts on that.
Okay. Yeah, it did take him a while to put that guy away. However, what I was seeing was Ty Tyson toying with this guy.
Okay.
I think he could have put him away in about 5 minutes, but I think he was I think he could sense this guy's inexperience and started just kind of stringing him along, punishing him. And now it did almost cost him the match, because this guy, whoever he is, has a mean iron claw hold. So he got Ty Tyson locked in that iron claw and almost beat him. And I think it was one of those things where, it's just one of those cases where the experienced guy's toying around with his opponent, thinking, "Oh, I've got this. This kid can't beat me." And then he caught him off guard. He caught him sleeping a little too much. And then after that, I think Ty kind of woke up and was like, "Whoa, wait a minute. This kid almost beat me. I got to start. I need to go ahead and put him away."
Now, I'm going to disagree with Brian.
Okay.
I'm going to say, I think Seth Clayton Burns Enterprises has really been laying to Ty Tyson. We saw not to give anything away from the last show, but we saw Seth Clayton Burns, talking to Ty Tyson and trying to entice Ty Tyson, and he's been, they've been out to get him for weeks and weeks now, and I'm wondering if like Matt says, if something is going on in his mind because of that.
I think it might be a combination. I think maybe the fact that the kid caught him and almost beat him might be that. But again, I saw I saw the toying with him and the not putting him away when he could have. Why didn't he finish him? Well, he didn't want to finish him. But yeah, I think it could be a combination of the two, because I'm sure that Ty Tyson in the back of his head is concerned about this situation with Seth Clayton Burns, because I'm sure Ty Tyson understands that while Seth Clayton Burns isn't very intimidating physically, he does have a good wrestling mind, and he knows how to pick wrestlers. And and with the Baron that he had brought in, he wasn't. I could tell that he wasn't very impressed with him, and was just kind of. I think it was one of those things where he was bugging him so much to join Seth Clayton Enterprises that he was like, "Fine, I'll give you a shot. If you can beat Ty Tyson, you're in." Kind of knowing that, well, that's not going to happen. And then before he even, I think either right after the match or maybe even before the match was over, both him and Mason Matthews had walked out of the building and left him lying there.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Hayes, any thoughts?
Well, not saying it, but I've teamed with Ty in the past. Me and Ty have been tight, and Ty does have a chip on his shoulder. So what Brian's saying, you find that person that, Ty knows he can beat. Ty's going to take his time and play around. I hate to say a cat playing with a mouse before it kills it.
Mm-hmm.
But Ty does have that attitude to him. And if it's possibility of, got a little too cocky and the kid snuck one in, it'd be a wake up call for Ty going, oh, wait. And now, as y'all are saying too, Seth Clayton Burns and them always on his tail. Ty's going to be looking over his shoulder here and there too, and not just the match on his mind.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always that in there too of what's going on. Take you off the ball for a second and somebody get one over on him. It's possible.
Yeah, that's the thing about wrestling. Anybody can beat anybody, because even if your opponent doesn't have nearly the skill level that you do, you can beat yourself. You can make a mistake and beat yourself and the opponent, but the W goes to your opponent.
Yep. Yeah. You can overthink it. You can underthink it. You can be your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll see. Let's see if Ty Tyson can. I mean, he didn't lose, but I want to see him bounce back still. That's just what I have in my heart.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. So let's move on to the national promotions. At least one of them. And I'm not going to resist the temptation to take a shot here. But anyway. So SmackDown Friday night, look, they had quarterfinal King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring matches on Raw, and they did on SmackDown as well. I was so excited about the women's side of the bracket for SmackDown, because we got two, good Lord, matches that I would pay to see. I would pay to see each of those matches 3 times on the same card, right? Jade Cargill against Nia Jax, Bianca Belair versus Tiffany Stratton, and you could just do them. Now I wouldn't pay full admission price for it, but I would buy a ticket if if I could get in for like $40. I'd say it was worth it. But Jade Cargill, I was hoping, man, when I saw the bracket, they put the bracket up, I was like, oh my God, there's a possibility here that Jade could fight Bianca, and I would love to see that. They're a newly formed tag team. Wouldn't that be great? But it didn't work out that way. Jade got herself disqualified against Nia Jax. So Nia Jax is moving on. The crowd was not happy.
Is this
Jackson,
where was Jade Cargill's daughter in the
yes, and
that
Jackson
night?
was yelling at her. And so and just doing it, oh, you gonna hurt your mommy? Are you gonna cry? Why don't you go ahead and cry? Nia Jackson was being real mean to that kid, which I enjoyed. Kudos to you, Nia. I give Nia a hard time when she needs it, but she almost made the kids cry, and they were close, and so she didn't go as far as Sasha Banks with Izzy many years ago in the NXT arena, and making Izzy full-blown weak. And that was so awesome. That's why I was such a fan of hers for so many years. But, after you listen to Sasha Banks talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and not do much of anything lately, I kind of soured on her long before she left the WWE. But I got back because when they had the Clash of Champions here in Charlotte, her and Becky Lynch tore the house down. So anyway, so Nia Jax moves on to the finals, and then we got Bianca Belair and Tiffany Stratton. And the first thing I want to comment, as soon as Tiffany Stratton walked out, Jinky's sitting there on the couch working on her beads. She looks up and she goes, her trunks are cut too high. That's going to be a problem. Like that. And I said, it sure was. I saw that on Twitter today. Oh, mercy. Yep. Thank God Tiffany's a lady and felt that coming, Yeah. So, but I bet maybe she'll think twice. I mean, got to give the girl credit. Every week she comes out, she's got new gear. Every week. I don't think I've seen her wear the same gear since she left NXT. So, but yeah, that became a problem. But she got through it, and she gave Bianca all she could handle. They had a competitive match, wardrobe issues aside. But yeah, it just took me back to the days when, like, about 2013, and when Big E Langston would come out, and I always thought his trunks were cut too high too, and I would just constantly add him on Twitter. Like, one of these days your balls are going to fall out and somebody's going to step on them and you're going to regret cutting your trunks that high. He never responded to me, but I'm telling you that back in those days, every Friday night when he was on SmackDown, as soon as he walked out, at Big E WWE, and I would give him shit. So I know he saw it, but
the women are having a lot of wardrobe issues. Last week, Naomi was coming out of her top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they might want to test run these outfits, or maybe do a workout, a quick 2-minute workout in the gear before when they try it on or something.
Because
one of the girls should have looked at Tiffany and went, "Bad idea."
Yeah,
just saying. Bad idea.
Yeah, those trunks were cut way too high. And if you haven't seen them, I'd encourage you to go online and look at beautiful gear. Love the purple and white and silver. I mean, yes, there's nothing inappropriate about it. Except
until you take a gut wrench.
Yeah. Until you take a gut wrench suplex and some of that light material gets moved around a little bit.
But you should never have to protect your crotch on a gut wrench suplex.
No. Poor girl, but she did it, and I think she's
all class.
She's young, she's not married, so she's gonna try stuff that's a little more risque as far as the costume goes. But I don't know if that ended up costing her the match because she was thinking about it. But Bianca had a hell of a match, though. I mean, what did it go 3 segments? I believe it was incredible. So if you hadn't seen SmackDown yet, go on your handy dandy Fox Sports app and at least check that out. Now, I'm confused. Tama Tonga is in the final against Randy Orton for the men, or semi, right? Yeah, semi.
I think it's semi.
Yeah. So what's the other one? What's the other men's semi? Do you know?
Not right offhand. I'd have to look.
Yeah. But anyway, so look, just watch Raw tomorrow night, and they'll have the other men's semi and probably one of the other women's semi. But the thing that's confusing me is Logan Paul is going to go up against Cody Rhodes at King of the Ring for the WWF title. But Logan Paul said he was refusing to defend the U.S. title and tore up the contract thus preventing Cody. Cody has held every title in WWE except the United States title. So if he beats Logan Paul, wins the United States title, he said he would be a Grand Slam champion. But Logan's saying he wasn't going to. So it says here on the website that it's a title for title match, but I thought that was still in dispute.
Kiboshed. Yeah, I think allegedly kiboshed on SmackDown.
So I want to see what happens with that. Well, I guess we'll have to wait for more news either tomorrow or throughout the week on what's going to happen there. Should be, I'll have to find it first. I'll have to find it. It was somewhere on Twitter, and
I can't find it. Okay, I was like, oh yeah, you're talking about I didn't think you'd get the message just now, but yeah, if you can find it, I'm having trouble because there's some other stuff going on right now that is overshadowing that. So.
Oh yeah, the Holy Rand thing. Yeah, that's all on my social media right now. Nothing bad, folks. Don't worry, nothing bad. And as far as our interests are concerned, it's actually probably good for the U.S. But yeah. But
they're not coming after us.
No, they're not coming.
That's not what's happening.
No, we're not going to have to stick the Air Force on them. Don't worry.
They'll blame us for the weather.
Yeah, they'll blame us for this happening, though. I'm sure, But anyway, so
I'm interested to watch Cody and him because I saw a funny meme that was like Logan Paul's picture in a forest, like some kind of dumb hat on, and then Cody Rhodes is Stardust, and like they were just talking about how funny it was that they're going to be, wrestling each other on a very big show, and both of them have come a very long way, very long way.
But as I look up and down the card here for what they got listed, got Cody and Logan Paul coming up in Saudi Arabia, triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship, which I just again with a triple threat. I want Sammy and Chad Gable 1-on-1. Whoever comes out,
wait for it.
Yeah, they got Bronson Reed in that match too, and I like that big old Aussie man. He's great. That freaking splash he does off the top rope, Lord have mercy. I mean, it's like just the equivalent of, it probably feels like somebody dropped a bowling ball off the top rope on you. Probably worse, like about 5 bowling balls. Becky Lynch is defending against Liv Morgan, and I got a feeling, man, Liv Morgan might just slip in there and beat Becky. I mean, Liv's got a lot of momentum going, but then that's 3 they got listed, and then we got the 2, crown the king and queen of the ring. So this looks like it's going to be another 5-match show. And I would think that as much bread as the Saudis put up, do you think, Stephen Hayes, we might see another match or 2 added to the card by the end of the week?
I'd say at least 1, and knowing Saudi money added, it wouldn't surprise me if Roman shows up.
Wouldn't that be something?
And if Solo goes after Heyman, I would almost put money on Roman showing up to save him.
That's a weird thing. If Solo and Tama and what's the other guy's name?
Tongaloa.
Tama and Tongaloa. If they don't trust Heyman, they're giving him side eyes all the time. Why do they even keep him around? I mean,
you keep your enemies closer than your friends.
Yeah.
That's what they always say. I don't know exactly how the idiom goes, but you
keep your friends close, enemies closer.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You look at same Solo give Paul the exact same hug and speech he gave Jimmy.
That's
right
true.
Before he spiked him. They've at least teased it, whether it goes that way or not.
Yeah.
But you have your possibility of, if they go after Paul, Roman saves him, or you get the guy that Triple H said was still in the company. They're just not advertising due to certain things. There's always the possibility of Brock.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting if they can get him to come down from hunting up in Saskatchewan.
Is it hunting?
Saudi money? Yes, Saudi money can get him.
Yeah, Saudi money
Yeah.
can get it.
Saudi
Yeah.
money can get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and buy all the elk meat he wants for that.
That's right.
Got the
Yeah.
hunting and
Here,
stuff.
here, have some camel.
Well, the way I've understood, I could just see him looking at them. Fuck you, you know. How am I supposed to give that stuff all the way back across? You're gonna take a
Right.
lot of ice.
Got
need
a lot
a lot-
of dry ice for that.
A lot. Oh man. But I understand that Brock. Some of the interviews I've heard, the way I understand Brock is transferring that compound up there where he's got a full-on meat processing. Like, I don't want to say plant, but he can, whatever he kills, he can fix up any way he wants.
He's like the Mount Airy Meat Center, but in of his own.
Yeah, but private,
That's the one, yeah.
And that's great because he self-admittedly does not like people, and so if he can prepare everything at home without having to go to the supermarket, it's probably good for everybody involved. It's probably good for him.
Yeah.
It's probably good for the general public. I'm surprised with a temper like his that he's never been in front of a judge for, dropping somebody on their head. He's been handled well over the years.
Yeah. Well, he knows himself. He knows he doesn't like people, so he doesn't go around people.
Yeah. And that's good. But you know what I will say about Brock Lesnar? He has left the wrestling business better than it was when he got here.
Yes.
When he was on his initial run, it was like when the NWO went on their initial run. He just won everything, and it was so predictable. Like, they talk about The Rock and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam in 02, like it's this classic. Everybody knew Brock was going to win going into that match. It was almost pointless to buy the pay-per-view. You just knew. So let's rewrite history like this was a great, and they did put on a good match, but you knew what the outcome was going to be. And so I don't remember that first run that fondly, but starting 2010 to now, or even what was the one he had with John Cena where he messed up Cena's face at the beginning of the match? Where he put all those marks on. Was that 2010 or 09 sometime?
Somewhere in there. And then you get the Brock and Eddie match. I mean, that's when it was. Here is best for business Brock,
Yeah, Brock Eddie Guerrero on that first run was good. That was really good. And nobody thought Eddie Guerrero was going to win that match.
Nope.
And it took a hell of a lot of help from Bill Goldberg to make it happen, but it happened.
There you go.
You making me want to go. I'll probably go watch that pay-per-view. No, I got to watch NASCAR tonight. Thank you, DVR. But that'll be my next pay-per-view I think I'll watch from the old days of No Way Out 20, what year was that? 02, 03, 03 maybe?
3, somewhere in there, I do believe, yeah.
Maybe 04. Maybe, I don't know. Put that in your Google machines, kid. Let's see here. Let me put it in here. Anybody want to check the chat, see if anybody's got any smart alecky comments?
No.
I know our advertiser without an address was in there.
He was, but I haven't seen him speak again. Speak up, AC, if you're in there with some information about your business.
Need your address, telephone number, website, that kind of stuff.
The security number, bank account.
Back in 2004 at the No Way Out pay-per-view. And that was actually held in Pat Patterson's old stomping ground, the Cow Palace in San Francisco. Last major wrestling show I know that's been in that building. I think AEW ran it once, but
you said major show.
There it is. I didn't do it, not this week.
Oh, me. Did you, off topic of WWE, but did you hear that Warner Brothers has lost their basketball stuff?
No.
Yeah. Warner Brothers has lost their NBA stuff as of right now. I don't know where it's going, but I was reading that people are wondering what that's going to do to their channel. Is it either going to ruin AEW even more, or are they going to put all their meat and potatoes now in AEW?
Well, TNT has the NBA. AEW's on TBS. I mean, I know it's all the same. Am I wrong? Have they been having NBA games on TBS?
I don't know. It was just talking in general that Warner Brothers had lost their NBA shows.
That hurts my heart, and I'll tell you why. All the way back in the 80s, in the early 80s, early to mid 80s, TBS had a weeknight NBA game. And that was back when you never saw the NBA except on the weekends on television. You could get, they still played all the games, but you just got a box score in a newspaper in the morning, And I still remember the theme song. NBA is here to stay. Let's go to the hoop. It was Wednesday night. I mean, most of the times it was Hawks games because they could just go to the Omni, right? And cover.
Didn't Pat own the Hawks?
Yeah, I think so. So it was easy for them. But I mean, it was still cool because this was in the early days of cable TV when it was like the Wild West. I mean, it was like primetime wrestling on USA Network. Oh my God, 2 hours and they're showing main event matches. Oh, little kids losing their mind.
But yeah, historically, they have been where you go to watch NBA.
I know it, and it hurts.
I don't watch NBA, but I know that. I know that from watching these, because 905, that whole thing, and being pushed off because there was basketball games and stuff, But it is. I mean, I don't know if it's like a done deal. It was just an AEW type story about it. Like, I guess it was more like, are they going to now, that's what they're going to put in that, like, in its place, and put a lot of emphasis and effort into making AEW, a flagship, like a big flagship thing. It was just speculation about that. Cause if they do, they need to tell Tony Khan he needs to work on some storylines.
NBA, right? Okay, here we go. 3 days ago. This is CNBC, so a good source for financial news. Okay, this is a real, legitimate network news site. Warner Brothers Discovery and the NBA continue to have discussions about reaching a new broadcast deal. Warner Brothers Discovery has matching rights if the NBA signs a deal with NBC Universal for a package of games. If Warner Brothers Discovery matches NBC Universal's bid, it's unclear if the league has a full discretion to walk away from the matched offer, sources told CNBC. So evidently, just reading those bullet points, I'm not going to read the whole article because it's a wrestling show, not a basketball show. But it looks like it's still up in the air. That's some big dollars being thrown around. For tradition's sake, I hope it doesn't leave Turner because it's been there so long, but old-time NBA fans will be like, yeah, but don't you remember the NBA on NBC on Saturdays back in the 80s and 90s? So, I get for nostalgia purposes either way, but would the NBA go on big NBC, or would they regulate it to USA? My gut tells me USA because that's what they do with most of the NASCAR races. Next year, NASCAR is trying some crazy shit. They're going to be on Fox at the beginning of the year. Then they're going to be on Prime. Then they're going to be on TNT, then NBC. So they're busting up that thing 4 ways next year. So as these television contracts run out, it looks like nothing is safe. Anything can change. I mean, right now. I don't know.
Talking about Wild West earlier, but yeah, it's turned into Wild West again with contracts there.
I just, Mad Matt, I just sent you a message with Secondhand Heroes is in for Facebook page.
All right. We'd like to welcome Secondhand Heroes in
Evanston, Virginia.
Is that outside Lynchburg?
Yes, it is.
All right. So Secondhand Heroes, Evanston, Virginia, and we're going to have more about them. They've got a Facebook page. Still need an address and phone number. If we could get that would be awesome. I'd love to give that out as well as we talk about TV deals. But the AEW TV deal is coming up, and there's a lot of speculation that although Turner does want to renew, there's not going to be a big up in the price tag because of the dwindling ratings, which are hovering around 700,000 now. I hadn't heard the latest, because I get those numbers off Cornette's podcast, and Brian Last gets them off of WrestleNomics, and I don't know if you have to pay for WrestleNomics or not. And I ain't gonna do that. So
I think the last one I saw was like 669,000, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yet again, another picture of like the hard cam side with nobody sitting. But like, I used to be like, okay, that's the hard cam side, but no other wrestling organization blocks out every seat on the hard cam side, right?
No, not anymore. I mean,
I don't even remember that when I went to WCW shows in the 90s that they would block out the entire side for the hard cam. I remember, like, like kind of like this around
the section, the half section. Yeah.
Well, I remember, like, the first time I really saw that, I went to SmackDown in Roanoke in 2010 or 20. I was still at StarTech, so it had to have been 2010. And they had, you know how the Roanoke Civic Center is, there's no upper level, right? It's just, I mean, there's an upper set of stands, but they're just stairs that go up to them, right? It's not, you don't have to get on an escalator or elevator. But everything across from the hard cam was full all the way around the corner until you got to that last corner section. And then they had everything draped off on the hard camera side. And I remember seeing that was the first time I saw it like that. And then for a lot of years after that for WWE until Vince left, it was kind of like that on TV tapings. You know, they'd only show that one side of the ring, across from the hard cam. Yeah, you can always tell if WWE's got it roped off, because they'll just show the ring will be in the bottom left of the screen, and then it'll be crowd on one side. But if they shoot the ring in the middle, then it's full. That's how you.
Fall Brawl 94, the War Games, you only had like a quarter of the section that was cordoned off for hard cam, and other than that, it was pretty wide open, seating wise.
It just, you can't use that excuse anymore. Like, that used to be the excuse, but like, it's just, because it was a picture of Adam Copeland and House of Black. And, it's just, I've been trying to watch. This week was a little wild with children. We had a bunch of stuff going on the past 2 weeks with school stuff for children and me and this, that, and the other. Like, again, I just, what were we watching when I was like, Tony Schiavone has to be thinking this is the same damn thing he went through. Oh, we were watching that 99 pay-per-view that I sent you about
I couldn't.
Was it? It was the Junkyard Invitational.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
But see, Brian.
See, that's why I'm not going to watch it. Y'all heard all that groaning, audience members. You heard that? That's why I'm not going to. Because I will not subject myself to something that's that bad on purpose.
What did I say though, Matt? To you, I said it was so bad I couldn't even watch it.
Wow.
That pay-per-view.
That says a lot,
that does say a lot, because I will watch YouTube nonsense of shitty wrestling just all the time. And I had to turn that pay-per-view off after I watched the Junkyard Invitational. Because the only reason I'd watched it in the beginning is I was reading some stuff about Sandman. And they were talking about, when he was there as Hack, this was one of the final straws of Hack and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm going to watch this. And Brian's like, I already showed it to you. I was like, well, I don't remember. And then I was like, oh my God. I don't know how somebody didn't die. How we talk about I'm sorry, we're trying not to say something. F around and find out.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe that didn't happen in that match.
Yeah.
I stopped watching that one just because I felt bad for Fit Finley before he got hurt.
First of all,
it's like,
they put him in a trunk of a car. He got out of it. And it was obviously him getting out of the trunk and then they take a forklift, pick it up, and put it in a car smusher. And maybe there were some edits, but if they were like seamlessly done, because it looks like get out, pick up car, put in, smush.
Finley does not get credit for everything he has done for this business.
He was good.
No.
Bless his heart. So speaking of bad things, I don't know. I heard of this movie when they made the original new King Kong Skull Island movie, because there was a reference in that movie when a giant spider stepped through a person's mouth and impaled them. And that was actually a callback from the director to a movie called, speaking of bad things, called Cannibal Holocaust.
I have never seen that.
Well, let me tell you, anytime I start down a rabbit hole in movies, when we got our new iPhones, we got access to Apple TV. Was one of the perks. One of the awesome things about Apple TV is it detects all your streaming subscriptions, right? And so if you search a movie in there, you don't have to go around to every different streaming service anymore. Apple will tell you it's on A, B, or C, or no, you're gonna have to buy this. Nobody you subscribe to has got it on right now. It is on Peacock, buried way down deep in the dungeon, but it's there. Ooh-wee.
I've seen stills of it, and it looks like too much. It looks terrible.
It starts off slow, but if you stay with it, you will see. Well, I don't know how the movie got made, honestly. It just seems like there were a lot of laws, even in Colombia, that were broken making that movie. I mean, I don't know what would possess, like, just to get that stuff on camera, just to shock people. And the movie pretends like it's trying to prove a point that Western culture is more brutal than primitive culture. Yeah, you can try to play that high horse all you want, but to me, it's just a twisted Italian director making the most fucked up movie he could possibly do and trying to put a moral on it to get away with it.
Not a Dario.
Have you ever seen it, Stephen Hayes? Because you're laughing.
Clips. I can't bring myself to watch, but I like it. No, yeah, no,
And
okay.
we love, just like we love bad wrestling. Well, we love bad horror movies too.
I love bad horror movies.
But I've seen clips and I've seen stills, and it's still, because there's that one where the woman and the people's faces are painted red, and she's in the middle of them screaming, and it's just, that's the movie, right?
Yeah, that's part of it.
I'm
All
like,
right.
that's too much. I can't. Like, there's another horror movie that was too much. It was I Spit on Your Grave.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
The original one.
Yeah,
that movie was too much also for me. So
yeah. That I had been told by my friends what a good movie that was. So when I got to Brewers, when I worked at Brewers Movie Club, boy, I'm dating myself now. We had a copy of it, and so I took it home and watched it, and I was just like, God, man,
the bathtub scene.
That was, well, yeah, but after what had happened to the girl, I was glad to see her get her revenge.
Yeah.
But to me,
that was a pretty brutal scene too.
To me, there was nothing she could have done other than, draw and quarter those bastards that would have made her even with me for what they did to her. Because would they rape her like 15 times?
It was terrible. Let me tell you how I saw it. My mother sent we lived in the middle of nowhere, so we rented our movies from the local little store in Lawsonville. And so they had their one little corner, with the movies. And she sent my 16-year-old brother out to get us a movie, and he brought that movie home. And my mother put that in, and it was the most, I don't even know why we watched it all. And I was young.
Paid for it.
If he was 16 or 17.
Yeah, I'll get my $2.50 worth out of this.
If he was 16 or 17, I was 10.
Yeah.
And in fact, that might explain why I'm so warped. But yeah, that movie, that one's, because the new one is bad, but it's not like that one is just.
I'm glad I didn't see that movie until I was 20 years old. I really am, because I think like Freddie and Jason and stuff kind of messed me up a little bit when I was like 10 or 11 years old. You go to sleep over at a friend's house who has HBO, stay up late, watch horror movies. Mom and dad are not going to find out. Yeah. And so
it's the Venn diagram of how screwed up are you by how many times did you watch Faces of Death?
I've never seen that.
Oh,
and
man.
That's shocking.
Faces of Death is actually good. I mean, when you're a kid and you believe it's real,
right?
Awesome.
Right.
Because it is shot like a documentary. But then when you watch it back now with a critical eye, you're like, how did I believe any of this horse shit?
I do remember I was very young when those came out. I think I was still in elementary school.
Oh no, honey. These things came out in the late 70s and early 80s.
Well, I guess I was in elementary school in the mid 80s, so
yeah.
So
you
that
can
was
still find them online. I watched the original Faces of Death online the other day, and well, not the other day, but it's been several months ago, and I was just like,
speaking of found footage, not that we're a movie podcast, but everybody should check out Late Night with the Devil.
Late Night.
It is
Where can
Late
we
Night
see
with
that?
the Devil,
Where can we see that?
Shudder, AMC, or is it just on Shudder? It's, if you can get it, it is very, very good, very good.
Let me see here. We were talking about how great Apple TV app is. Let me go ahead and put it in there. So, what's it called?
Late Night with the Devil.
Late Night.
We've
there it is. Boy, that popped up quick.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Wow, the guy's got his face on fire there.
Mm-hmm.
Late horror 2024, 1 hour 33-minute AMC Plus, or you can try AMC 7 days free, then $8.99. That's not bad for a streamer.
Well, we don't pay, we get ours with it's Shudder is part of Prime. So we pay for the AMC Plus, and it gives you Shudder, which is if you love good horror movies, bad horror movies, 70s, Italian, all those, get into Shudder, and they will give you the fix you need for that kind of horror.
This looks like a foreign movie, is it?
It is not.
Okay.
Well, no, it is filmed in another, but it's not other country.
It's set in the 70s.
It's set in the 70s. Yeah. I don't want to give away too much. Right. It's just, if you like horror movie, this is a good one. And this is not a found footage like Blair Witch Project. It's like found footage of a late night show.
Studio IFC Films, the same people that brought you what was that damn movie where the guy sewed the three people together?
Human Centipede.
Yeah,
it's not Human Centipede.
Well, it's the same studio.
It's the same studio, but it's not Human Centipede.
All right, now
they actually released it in the movie theaters.
Yeah, here's an interesting look. Apple TV is awesome. It tells you everything here.
I didn't know it did this. I have Apple TV, and I've never done that.
Regions of origin: Australia, United Arab Emirates. So it is a foreign film.
Well, it's not foreign. It's foreign because that's where they filmed it. Mm-hmm. But the people that made it are not foreign. It has a whole lot of production stuff. But it's not a foreign film. It was made in those countries, but it's not a foreign film. It's English. It's regular. I mean, it's like actors from here.
Yeah. I'm not going to look up all the actors. I'll take your word for it, but it looks like an Australian movie to me.
It's not. It's not. It's set in America.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I mean, I don't know if it's American actors, but it's not. I mean, most of them are and stuff.
You'd be surprised about that kind of stuff because the Cannibal Holocaust movie is set in America and is set in Colombia, but actually is an Italian film.
Yeah, this is an American film. It was released here in America. It was made for Shudder. It was made for Shudder originally, and then it did so well that they released it in the theaters here.
Interesting. All right, enough talk about movies.
I know we've been talking about movies now for a long time. Hey, we're a hodgepodge.
Anyway, yeah, but if you want to get your mind warped and you got a Peacock subscription, search Cannibal Holocaust. But I'm telling you, only older teenagers, maybe not even. I would say that maybe 20 years old would be a good limit for that. Or if you got some really bad kids that you need to scare, maybe show it to them.
Do I have to put on Cannibal Holocaust again?
No, please.
Back to that Venn diagram.
I was dealing with a smart alecky kid one time years ago, and I put on the original Night of the Living Dead. Watch that kid get humbled down and start crying about 15 minutes into that movie. And Night of the Living Dead is tame compared to Cannibal Holocaust. So. But don't, like I said, it takes a little while to get going, but once it does, Katie bar the door. And yeah. Good luck. That Matt Carter, he brought that Devil's movie into my house. Oh, you clicked on it. I just told you about
it. Gave you fair warning too.
Yeah. Oh,
I warned you.
Fair warning.
What do we got here? Oh, All right, branch management. Let's talk about something nice. Pretty plants and flowers. Branch management, man, they got it all covered for you. Landscape and service. They got, according to Rick Diesel, they're almost out of the potted plants. So you better get on it quick if you want some plants for your front porch. Don't buy them from Food Line, or I'm not going to say that. Just be careful where you buy this kind of stuff. You need to go to real gardening greenhouses places, because if you buy them at the supermarket, honestly, they're not going to live very long. Reach out to branch management. They'll help you with the beautification of your home, be it the lawn or around the porch. You know, they can help you out. They can do pressure washing, they'll clean out your gutters for you. Any type of contracting work, they got you covered. Best part about branch management, they got free estimates. So yeah, free estimates. 336-648-2487. That's 336-648-2487. And they will get you all set up. Give them a call. Tell them Ringside Wrestling sent you. And of course, here's our info again. All our social media, our main social media, AIWF Network, AIWF Ringside Wrestling channel on YouTube. A reminder, please like, subscribe, and ring that bell to get notifications. And our most delicious sponsor, and the reason Rick Diesel is absent tonight, is T's Treats. They are locally owned food truck based in Mount Airy, but they're in Wilkesboro tonight, serving the race fans. Hot dogs, chicken tenders, all kinds of crazy desserts.
I think they've added a chicken sandwich and onion rings now.
Oh Lord, Katie, bar the door.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's a food, Katie, bar the door. That's not a gross movie, Katie, bar the door. They also got frozen bananas. Has anybody had the frozen bananas yet? I have not.
I have not, because if I ate everything I like there, I would be, I was going to say barren size, but the different barren. You'd have to roll me out.
Yeah, no kidding, man. And, but yeah, they got the frozen bananas now. Yeah, I saw a picture of that new chicken sandwich. I might need to change up the slideshow, man. But look,
now, she says it's on her lunch menu, like that and the onion rings. From what the post said, that's on her lunch menu. I don't know. We'll have to get it from Rick Diesel what exactly that means.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at the schedule. Real quick, we are already here at June 1st, Extreme Content. Next show after that, June 22nd, it'll be a regular TV taping. Then before you know it, Capital Punishment in July. Then we wind and start getting revved up for Deal with the Steel on August 10th, and then Deal with the Steel itself goes down on August 31st. So as the weather heats up, so do things in the AIWF minute.
And the AIWF, I think, is also doing helping and presenting a show in Ivanhoe, Virginia.
Yes.
Next weekend.
Yep. And so yeah, wish I could be there, but
which is a fascinating town. I went down a rabbit hole about Ivanhoe, Virginia. Do you know that a preacher cursed them to fall into a sinkhole to hell, and they have sinkholes everywhere?
Wow.
Ivanhoe is hell.
I would there's a tiny little documentary about Ivanhoe, Virginia, and I would suggest, if you were interested in a local place, I mean, because it's not that far from Mount Airy, really, a place that has a very interesting history and interesting story behind it, for it to be the middle of nowhere is quite fascinating.
And I was just thinking it was good to be close to Whitfield, because at least you got all your favorite fast food places and good restaurants up there. But
thing about Ivanhoe is when you hear the banjos, paddle faster.
Oh my goodness!
But I'm excited. I think because I know Ty Tyson's going to be on it.
Justin Flash.
And Mickey Fulp, I believe.
Mickey Fulp.
Yeah.
So I've been recruited to also, tape it like we do, hopefully, and so we can show people. But if you're around that area, Whitfield or Galax or any of those areas, if you don't, if you're not afraid of a sinkhole coming,
watch out for those sinkholes. I'm not going to be here. Oh, that's right. No show next Sunday because World 600. I will be there.
And it's our anniversary. So
it's their anniversary. So, yeah. And I've noticed, and I'm going to point this out to you guys. I must be watching are paying attention to too much Bill Maher, because I had caught myself doing this before I make a point 3 times tonight. I don't know if y'all noticed it, but Bill Maher is definitely in my head. Love that guy. If you do, if you don't, I don't care. It's one of my favorite TV shows. And it was actually funny about that. Years ago, I'll tell you that. See, I did it again. Years ago. And I got his book on the way. So, but years ago, I was having trouble sleeping. And I went to old Doc Eason in Martinsville, go Deeks. And I was he was like, well, I don't want to prescribe any medicine, but he kind of tell me what your routine is before you go to bed at night. And I said, I work in an office, so I don't have to shower at night. So generally what I do is I put on my pajamas and relax and watch TV. And he goes, well, what do you watch? And I said, well, generally the last thing I watch is Anderson Cooper 360, because it comes on at 10 o'clock on CNN, because I want to know what's happening in the world. And he goes, oh, no, Matt, no. He said, there's your problem. I said, what do you mean? He said, Anderson Cooper, yeah, he tells you the news, but he says it in this dramatic way that he's trying to like get you upset or overly concerned or whatever to get you to sit through the next commercial break. And I was like, oh, they taught me about that at Star News. And whether you call it promotional forecasting, what you do is like, could a deadly hailstorm be headed to Concord? Find out right after this break. It's promotion. You get them to come through the commercial. And the news organizations, especially cable, do it like crazy these days. And I was like, well, I still want to stay informed, He said, well, have you ever heard of Bill Maher? And I was like, yeah, I know Bill Maher. He does this thing on HBO on Friday nights. And he's like, well, do you have HBO? And I was like, yeah. He said, well, try that. And I said, well, I don't know, man. He's kind of a little too far to the left for me. At least that's what I thought at the time. And Dr. Eason goes, no, he said, I don't agree with everything he did, but you and I don't agree on everything, right? Everybody's got their own mind. He said, but if you want to stay in touch with what's going on, Bill will make you laugh about the news. And anytime he tells you about something terrible that's going on, he'll tie it into a joke. And he said, try doing that. So I stopped watching Anderson Cooper, started watching Bill Maher, been a fan ever since, and been sleeping a lot better ever since. So
I watch Kit Boga do scammer bait phone calls. That's what I go to sleep to. So that's very fun to listen to also. If you
what
don't
channel
know
is that on?
It's on YouTube.
Oh,
I put on my little I have these headbands that's headphones.
Uh-huh.
These things, if you can't sleep and you want to listen to something, these are the best things ever.
And they won't bother your partner.
Nope. Well, Brian wears his own, so we don't bother you. Got little headphones in it, put it on, and then Kit Boga's on YouTube. He has a channel, and he's scam bait. He does does voices and stuff and talks to the people that are trying to rip you off and stuff.
I think I heard one of those once. Did he do one where he was doing they were doing the gift card scam, and he was talking like he was doing a Jimmy Stewart voice?
No, he has like an old woman, a Southern woman, a guy, like a Southern guy, like a young girl that sounds dumb and stuff and does it's almost like improv, but phone. It's very funny, but that's what I fall asleep to.
Do you guys
We're all giving our hints of how we fall asleep at night?
Yeah, tips to keep you entertained with other stuff besides wrestling. Do you guys remember Tom Mabe from back in the 90s? When the telemarketers would call him and he would screw with them. I remember one time, my favorite one he ever did was the one where the carpet and drape cleaning service called him, and he was like, oh, this has to be a miracle. Can you come over now? And they're like, well, yes, sir. Well, sir, yeah, we'll have to make an appointment. Well, we can help you out. What do you got? Oh, I need to clean. I need you over here now. Like, there's so much blood and it's everywhere. But she wouldn't stop yelling at me, man. I didn't know what to do. It just went too far. But you got to get out of here. You got to get out of here now.
I don't remember. That sounds funny, though.
Yeah. Man, the operator started flipping out. I mean, it was great. Tom Mabe also a few years ago put up a video on YouTube where he attached a drone and rigged it up to make it look like a witch on a broom, and was flying it over school playgrounds on Halloween. And the kids, and he had cameras in it, and it was so hilarious, man. That's just this guy. He's unhinged, and he did something else. Oh, he made one of his friends or friends or something was like a real bad drunk, and they were doing an intervention. So when he got drunk and passed out, they rigged up they had this whole set built up like a hospital room or whatever. And when the guy came to the next day, they had him convinced that he had been in a coma for 10 years. And and there was like a fake news report on TV. And like one of the stories was Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his partner, Jonathan Herring, celebrate their 5th wedding anniversary today, and you can see his brain is just because he's hungover, right? Mm-hmm. But they're trying to convince him it's like 10. He's been in a coma for 10 years. It is funny as all get out. I mean,
that kind of reminds me of that old show that was on Sci-Fi, Scare Tactics.
Oh yeah, yes. I remember that.
God, we're showing our age now. That show was good too.
Yeah,
like just kind of talking about people messing with each other and stuff. That was prank shows were really big there for a while. So. I don't ever watch Impractical Joe. I don't even know if that's what that show's about, but back in the day, Scare Tactics and then Jackass and stuff like that.
Impractical Jokers just takes people and puts them in uncomfortable situations. They'll take turns, and what the deal is, they'll send you into a hardware store, and like whatever they tell you in your ear, you have to do. Like you walk up to that guy and ask him, how long is his garden hose and stuff like just weird stuff like that.
This is bringing it back.
It's never held my attention for more than 5 minutes.
Bringing that back to wrestling, that awful pay-per-view that we were watching, the 99. It was the Main Street. The Kurt Hennig and Barry Windham and
West Texas Rednecks
against the Master P group, and it was Conan, Rey Mysterio, Brad Armstrong, and some guy named Swole or something. But anyway, Conan gets on the mic and says, "We're going to make you toss our salad and eat."
I remember this one.
Something. And I was like, "Toss our salad and eat our beans or eat our." I don't know what it was, but I was just like,
"Can you tell Vince Russo was there?"
Good Lord! And I was like, "How can I don't know?" And Brian didn't know the story that the Kurt Hennig group was supposed to be the heels, Master P the babies, and the people that were watching wrestling at that time switched that around. But then we were trying to figure out why Brad Armstrong was in it. But then he did the Road Dogg punches. And I was like, oh, they're trying to convince people because at the time Road Dogg was wearing camouflage pants and black. Yeah.
But that little bit where they tried to give Brian's personality on TV.
Yes, and God bless Brad Armstrong, one of the best wrestlers.
Yeah, just couldn't talk in front of a camera.
Terrible. Same thing with Paul Roma, great wrestler, terrible personality.
They said that Brad could cut a promo in the back in front of the boys like it was nobody's business, but you get him in front of that camera, it's just I mean,
he turned into his dad minus the promo. Minus the promo.
I would say that his dad had a little bit more charisma.
Brian got his dad's personality. Yeah. Brad got his dad's wrestling ability. Brad Armstrong is your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler. I promise you.
Yeah. But I was just like, why? It is so random that he's in that group. Like just so random. And then like I said, when Brian said, see, I repeat, my children hate this about me that I repeat stuff, and I do, but I think it's just the way my brain works. But it was terrible also. But it's just, the match was not terrible. The match, because you had some really good workers in there. I mean, Barry Windham.
Wait a minute. Stop.
What?
You've been telling us for an hour and a half how terrible this match was.
I'm saying that.
Now you said the match is not terrible.
No, the match was terrible. Like the idea, but you had guys who were really good workers. Just like I said, AEW, these really good workers with really shitty storylines. So,
well, that was WCW 99 in a nutshell. I mean,
and they did good match, bad concept.
Yeah. Good workers, bad match, bad concept, bad show,
Yes.
bad lighting, bad writing. Good
Ambiguous
guys.
morals.
Yeah, ambiguous moral.
Yeah, I've
Oh, my
never.
God.
That's the first thing I've ever watched from 1999, ever. I've tried to watch 2000 and I turned it on, and did I even make it through the first match?
No.
No, I turned it off. I was like, I can't even watch this.
The Goldberg Bret Hart match where Goldberg kicks his head into the fourth row is actually pretty good, but I think that was at Starrcade that year. Because I remember watching that pay-per-view, I was thinking, it's the end of 1999. I'm gonna give WCW one more chance. And I watched that pay-per-view and I was like, well, they had that Goldberg Bret Hart match was all right, but didn't see nothing else on there. It was any good, and so that was the end. That was the actual end for me in WCW. Although I'd left March of 97 when they won, the NWO won all the titles at Uncensored, and just one match they were able to get all the titles. And I was just like, what's the point? These guys, the NWO is going to win every week.
Yeah.
What's the point?
See, this is what got us going to WWE was because my friends were upset. We were obsessed with Sean Waltman, some of us. So when he started showing up on Raw with DX, we followed him, because he was he's got a good personality. We just kind of followed along, and then we started seeing that DX was doing much more interesting, much more fun vignettes and stuff. So we went then. I don't know, that's probably
98.
98.
Yep.
So we probably made it to the mid 98, and then because I've watched some 98 pay-per-views, I said I think we were already done.
He showed up WWE the day after WrestleMania 14 in 98. So
yeah, so that's probably when we started. I think what we did is we did that flipping back and forth thing until they started both having commercials at the same time.
Practice Clear Channel Radio continues that tradition to this day on their radio stations, fuckers. Yeah. It's at the end of the show, and I just slipped it in. I'm
That's
trying
okay. We were really good. I only said it once, and you only said it once. So,
and that was just a shot at it. They do fine. Let's see. I was trying to think. There's something else that I thought of from that era that was interesting, but no. It's. I remember WCW running me off at the Uncensored 97. I still remember Luger taking that pin, and I was just like really, but see, that's what I liked about WWF at the time. You didn't know who was going to win,
right?
It was back and forth so much.
We stopped. I was not watching when the red and white NWO.
I was not either.
I was not watching then. It's just like once everybody became NWO, and it was pointless. It was pointless. It was over. And yes, you knew exactly who was going to win on those shows.
Yeah, and remember there was two tiers of the original NWO. Like the top guys, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, they had different music.
They did have different
Virgil music. and the Luchador guys. Remember there was different Scott Norton and that crowd, Marcus Bagwell. Yeah.
And the big tall, what is his name? Not Chris Canyon, the other big tall, Brian Clark.
Yeah, Billy Holiday.
Clark and Adams, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Dr. Bill Payton used to say, "Oh, there goes that jobber NWO music." It's like that's what he would say.
I'm telling you, if you're ever having a really bad day and just need to feel better about your life, watch the New Blood Rising pay-per-view and realize that we weren't a part of any of that.
Is that an NW? I don't.
It's a WCW late one, and it is
2000,
horrid.
I believe. It's
it is.
I tried to watch
horrid.
something in 2000. I seriously could not watch it. And I
If
know
I'm
that's
not
like
mistaken,
25
that was
years ago, but
I think that was around the Billy Kidman versus Hogan time.
Boy, those are two things that do not fit together.
No.
No.
And Billy Kidman's another guy, really great worker, really great.
Yeah,
it was also in that Russo Viagra on a pole match time frame.
I don't know any of this, so now I'm gonna have to try. I don't
No,
know.
don't waste your life doing
I
that.
I want to go on and apologize to you if you do watch it.
Yeah, I'm steering clear of that. Yeah. Life's too short. I mean, we spend too much time in front of screens anyway. Let's try to remember to watch nice things on our screens.
I like a good mix. I like to keep it a good mix. So.
Well, I will say this about Cannibal Holocaust. I'm glad I'm glad I saw it, because when modern directors pay tribute to stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I always like to, it's just something I do because I'm a cinema fan, to look up the reference. And I never thought I'd see that movie on a streaming service. But let me tell you something, folks. If you like 80s horror, Peacock has stepped their game up. I mean, they got some classics. They got Sleepaway Camp on there, Prom Night, all them old slasher pictures, man. You know, Friday the 13th lives on Max. So if you want to see how that host, not me, a lot of people do not know this. Jason Voorhees was not the killer in the first movie.
Don't
It was
spoil
his
it.
mama.
Jason,
But,
yeah, you just spoiled
It's
it.
an old enough movie.
Yeah.
I don't care.
The best Friday, my favorite Friday the 13th is 3D.
That's the one where you got the hockey mask, wasn't it? That's where you.
Yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
exactly, yes, because he wore a bag over his head in the second. See, this is my thing. I love Friday the 13th, and just this past few months, we watched them all, and they get terrible, kind of like WCW wrestling.
Yeah, they go downhill.
But it's worth the watch. So,
But in the early ones, the cool thing about it is you were especially the first one.
that first one's
The first one was so awesome because of the creative way that they killed off the teenagers. It was and it was some kind of weird special effect that you'd never seen before. Tom Savini did that movie, and his orders were from the people that produced it was like, I want to do something that's just as scary as Halloween, but let's do it bloody. And they were like, okay, you know. So,
and what's the sad thing is as WCW, as Friday the 13th went on, the less and less blood you saw.
And
like if you watch them, like the later ones, like there's like hardly
anything after 6. It just it went.
See, and I'm like anything after 4.
I would say after 4.
Yeah.
Because they never mind. This is getting into my system, so I'm not gonna.
It's what but there was a story that I since learned is not true, but I'll tell it because it is a good story. And Kevin Bacon is in the original Friday the 13th, and he dies by a spear or arrow coming through his throat. It goes in the back of his neck while he's laying on bed. Right. All right. So the story I heard was that Tom Savini was under the bed because they were using real pig's blood that you get at a butcher shop, right, for the effect. And remember, the sheets were white. He was wearing white. So this is one of those things you got to get it on one take, because you pour pig's blood all over everything, it's ruined. You know, it's just ruined. So he had rigged up a device that was set to come up right here, right, that pushed that pig's blood out like it was a wound, and it had a bicycle pump hooked to it, right? And that's how he was going to do it. He was going to pump it, and the blood would come up. They get the shot, right? Nothing to it. Well, first time he pumps the bicycle pump, I don't know if you've ever used one of those things, but you have to be careful because they're really, the neck on them is skinny, right? First pump, it popped off, right? Well, they're rolling. He's got to get the blood out. So he takes the hose off the pump with that pig's blood in it and just blows, and it comes out. You know, they get the shot, they yell cut. Well, when they yell cut, he takes his mouth off the hose, and guess where that pig blood goes? Right in his face, because there's no pressure. It just comes back downhill, right? Gravity. And he's laying under the bed. And so pig's blood covers him in torso. And he's like, oh, and he's like, no big deal. He rolls out from under the bed. The crew sees him. Everybody starts screaming, thinking he's hurt, because he rolls out from under the bed, drenched in blood. And they know he was under there with a bicycle pump. And so that was like one of the funny stories from that movie. Turns out that wasn't true. That never happened. He actually used a chemical compound to make up that blood that actually made the actors sick. And he had to, during the course of shooting that movie, had to adjust the mixture that he was making that blood with, so it wouldn't poison the actors. It's
well, and another story with that, with his stuff, I think his name was Bill. He was one of the last ones to get killed. You don't see him get killed on screen. It's just when the girl opens the door, he's on the back of it with arrows and stuff. And the blood they used in that scene, because that guy's like Bing Crosby's grandson. Anyway, but it blinded him, and he was blind for a little while after the blood.
I heard that
got in his eye.
Yeah, and so they had to quickly. I mean, Tom Savini laughed about it, but yeah, I guess that's all you could do if you accidentally hurt people. But they figured out safer ways to do blood in movies because of a lot of those accidents.
A lot of my favorite movies are done by Tom Savini. So,
oh God, yeah. I mean, if you need blood, he was the guy to call. I mean, that's what
he meant. Well, wrestling. He made Bray Wyatt's mask, the most famous one.
Did he?
Yep.
Tom Savini? I thought that guy in Pittsburgh did it. That was what the documentary
the
said.
Fiend one was by him.
Really?
Let me see which one it is. Yeah, because Bray.
That's not what the documentary said. If you hadn't seen that documentary, by the way, Peacock, the Bray Wyatt documentary.
No, it's Tom Savini discusses how his working relationship with WWE. There's an article about it was this. Well, you can't see it. Mm-hmm. It's the one with it's the Fiend. He's the one who did it.
It's Jason Baker and Tom Savini.
Yeah. So it's because he has a school, I think, but yeah, Tom Savini is one of the ones who helped with that. So
yeah,
just bringing it back to wrestling as always.
Yeah. But anyway, but if you like good old bloody slasher movies, I would just tell you this, kids, if you want to see what a practical special effects genius Tom Savini was, just Google him. Oh. I mean, and he even appeared on camera in several movies. He was so well liked.
Oh, he's in my favorite zombie movie is Dawn of the Dead, the original, and he did the special effects for that, and he's in it. So.
Oh, really? He's in it?
He's one of the bikers. He's also in Dusk Till Dawn, and I think he did the special effects for that also. So. Yeah.
He did the special effects for Day of the Dead as well. The one where they're in the underground.
Another one of my favorites. I like those two. We're getting off on a tangent. Never mind. Two very good zombie movies. Very good.
Yes. Well, the original Night of the Living Dead is still the king of all of them. I don't care what anybody says.
I don't like it. Well, I love zombie movies, but I think it's boring.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. There's people who love it, and there's the people who think it's boring. There's a lot of times no in between. So
I saw that movie when I was 12 years old at the Patrick Henry Community Library and the college library in Martinsville. My mother was taking classes, and I would go up to the library and just pull something out of the video thing and watch it. And one of the kids up there working one night was like, "Hey, do you like horror movies?" And I was like, kind of. He was like, "Watch this one. It's an older one."
As a 12-year-old, that would have been scary. Yeah,
it was fucking terrifying. I had nightmares for weeks, and so I've always loved the movie since then. It was one of my real good first scares, and it didn't have much blood in it, which made it even better. Scary. It's like you remember the House on Haunted Hill? Like the modern version had Liam Neeson in it,
but yeah, the one
the black and white version is way scarier because you can't see stuff. It's all up here.
It's the Hitchcock factor of don't show it, imply it.
Yeah, and it
is
works.
Is that the one with the skeleton in the vat of acid? Is that the way that one ends? Is that House on Haunted Hill, or is that the other one, Haunted of Hill House? Because there's two from that are both are Vincent Price, but I can't remember which is which. So.
I can't remember, but House on Haunted Hill, the house in that movie is called Hill House. So I don't know if those two movies are related. Maybe they take place in the same house.
I don't know. I've seen both though. I just can't remember. Wow, we have gone way off.
Yeah, we're losing. You deserve a week off, and so do we, fans. So next week, Memorial Day, we can enjoy all the racing. If you're a race fan, it's the greatest day in motorsports. Breakfast in Monaco, lunch at Indy, dinner in Charlotte, and so. If not, whatever you got going on, enjoy it. Remember Memorial Day. It's good to thank veterans that are still with us, but like Memorial Day, you're supposed to remember the ones that didn't come home. So think about that. Not trying to, stir up, tell you what to do or anything, but you want to go lay some flowers at a veteran's grave or take a flag out there, that'd be a pretty solid thing to do. So, but anyway, that's about all we got. I don't want to end it on a bummer. Have everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. We will see you back here in 2 weeks. So for Stephen Hayes, Brian and Reagan Danzig, I am Mad Matt Carter. We'll see you next time, fans. And until then, so long for now.